Well, let me talk about Michigan and Macomb. It's exciting. We are the comeback state. And it was really exciting to see recently some great numbers on the employment front for the state of Michigan. Since I've been governor, we've created nearly 400,000 private sector jobs. Now that's a big number, but sometimes you wonder, what does that mean, 400,000 compared to the rest of the country? That actually places us number 5 in the nation in terms of private sector jobs created, the number of jobs created. More than Ohio, more than Illinois, more than Pennsylvania, bigger states than us. So we're helping lead the charge. Our unemployment rate went below 6% recently to 5.9. That's the lowest since 2001. And we're on a positive path of seeing more good stuff happen. So that's the momentum curve we have. And these are good, well-paying jobs. You're talking nearly 100,000 or more manufacturing jobs. Many of those jobs are professional business jobs that are good, well-paying jobs. So we're on a very positive path. And we should be proud of that, but let's keep it up. In terms of ways to keep it up, one of the issues I will get right up front is this issue about transportation in our state. If you want to have good jobs, if you want to have success, you need good infrastructure, and that is a responsibility of government. And we've been underinvesting in our infrastructure for well over a decade. If you wonder why we have this problem, it's simple. We haven't put the money into the system that we needed to. So when you see those barrels show up again and again, and the same road crews come back again and again, it's not they're doing bad work. They simply didn't have the work they wanted to do to fundamentally fix that road. They were doing Band-Aids. And the easy way to put it, one simple metric I'll give you, and I get this all the time, is people will say, hey, you know, when I go from Ohio to Michigan, I hope I'm a passenger because I close my eyes and I can tell what state I'm in because of the roads. Well, it's really simple. Ohio invests $1 billion more than Michigan in its roads. And I don't like losing to Ohio at anything, folks. So here's an opportunity, because this proposal is about investing $1.2 billion more in our transportation system. And it's about safety. And if you wonder about that, it is about safety. This is a chunk of Michigan road or bridge. And if you stop and think about it, and you're driving around, and you hit a pothole, you're losing control of your vehicle when you hit that pothole, and you're at risk. If you're swerving to miss that pothole, you're a distracted driver, and you're at risk. If you watch that one TV commercial, it's about a mother going around with her family and having another driver kick a piece of concrete up like this, and it went through the windshield of their vehicle. That will scare you to death, and literally it could mean your death, depending on where that lands up in your vehicle. If you drive around Michigan, and in southeastern Michigan, 14% of the bridges have this, look up and you'll see plywood or steel mesh. It's not there for good reason. It's there to keep crumbling concrete from falling on your vehicle. That's the kind of underinvestment we've made, and we simply need to solve the problem. Now, there are 2 or 3 key objections I was going to mention because I think it is important that you hear this. In a lot of cases, people are just upset that we have to go to the ballot. You wonder why the legislature just didn't solve this problem. Why didn't we solve it? I've been calling for a solution for 2 or 3 years now, too. I've been really clear that this needs to get done. But I also want to give credit to the legislature. We had a complicated system here in Michigan that really isn't right. This is our chance to fix it. What do I mean by that? First of all, when you talk about going to the pump to pay for your gas, most people think all the state taxes you pay at the pump go to transportation. Only about half do. It depends on fuel prices. But only 19 cents per gallon, a flat amount, has been going to transportation. That's our underinvestment. The balance of everything else on fuel is our 6% retail sales tax. So when you go pay at the pump, not only are you doing transportation, you're helping schools, local government, and everything else, but that's taking away from the road issue. So we looked at a solution to say, let's put more on the pump. Let's pay for that $1 billion that way. And when we came up with the first solution, what that would do, if we simply added that on top, our gas prices our taxes in Michigan would be over 60 cents a gallon. We'd be uncompetitive with other states by about 20 cents or so. So that solution doesn't look so hot then. So then we said, let's make sure everything at the pump goes to transportation, which a lot of people agree with. That makes common sense, doesn't it? Well, the only way you can make that happen is if you eliminate the retail sales tax off of gas then. So we said, let's go to 42 cents from 19. That'll give us the extra revenue. But when you do that and you take the retail sales tax off, you create a hole for schools and local government, and that wouldn't be right just to shift the problem, to create a problem for somebody else. The simple solution to it, not the easiest solution, but the simple solution is you look at the retail sales tax and say, let's not increase any goods or services that are subject to it, but raise the rate by 1 cent, going from 6 to 7. That will more than backfill that issue to make sure they're made whole and, in fact, give us some extra resources to make smart investments in our state in things that do matter. Our local governments, our schools, our young people, public transportation, and some tax relief for lower income people. Some changes we had to make in 2011 we took away. We can restore those. And to do that, it required a constitutional amendment. So it required the legislature to put it on the ballot. That's why you're having to be asked to go to the ballot. I know it's a pain. But there's good reason. And when you wonder, did the legislature do their part in supporting this? It didn't take a majority vote to put it on the ballot. It took a 2/3 vote. This had broad bipartisan support to put on the ballot because it's the right common sense answer for Michigan. So we have to get this done. You may wonder, what happens if we don't do this? What were our options? Well, the option not to put it on the ballot, not to look at the solution, although complicated, it's actually simplifying a complicated situation. The answer was to do nothing. That's a dumb answer, folks. That's not just a bad answer. That's just flat out dumb. To do nothing? To let pothole season get worse year after year? We have a chance to do something or nothing. It's pretty straightforward. Let's do something that makes a difference. Because I can tell you, every day that passes that we don't do something to solve this problem, it gets more expensive, in addition to being more dangerous for each one of us. In addition to the safety issue, each passing day our roads go downhill some more. We have more roads go from what's called good to fair to poor. And right now the bill is $1.2 billion a year to get us back up in that good to fair category. If we don't do something, we're going to see that good to fair percentage drop dramatically. Could in fact drop to by half over the next 10 to 15 years. And what does it cost to bring a road back compared to keeping a road good to fair? If you take a poor road and have to bring it back, it costs about 6 times as much to bring a road back as opposed to keeping it where it's at. So this isn't something you sit around and say, yeah, we can wait a couple years. At 1.2, we would be literally adding hundreds of millions of dollars to that bill of what would be required year after year to solve the problem. So I encourage you to get out there and vote yes on May 5th. Now let me swing topics, because I'm sure some of you are glad, well, I'm glad he's done with the road part now. Let's talk about something else. We have a huge opportunity, and I'm proud to say Macomb is a leader in so many different things, including this next field that I'm so excited about. And it ties both into education, but also jobs and careers. In the education message that I laid out, there are a couple areas I emphasized. One was pre-3, on how we help particularly third graders be successful in reading, and you don't wait to third grade. You got to start in preschool, and we're making big investments there, doing great stuff. But the other area I'm going to spend some time on talking about is I said we need to draw a circle around high school and higher ed. We need a much more seamless, easy-to-use system that helps young people understand career opportunities much better than we have today. And let me ask you this question. A lot of you, most of all of us went to high school. Many of us went to college or higher education in some form. Now think back. And I have to go back quite a ways. A lot of you don't have to think back that far. But think back and remember how much career counseling you actually got in college or high school. How much help did you actually get from those institutions about telling you what career to go into? Yeah, the answer is not much, right? usually people start laughing. Yeah, see, now you're starting to laugh. You were wondering where I was going with this one. But we do a terrible job largely, and we have some good counselors doing good work. But think about this. If you're going to make an investment like that in your life, your future, shouldn't you get better information about where you're headed? We should never tell you what to do, but shouldn't we give you good data to say, this is where the jobs are? Here's how much you can get paid. Here's the training required. Here's the opportunities. Here's a chance to go visit those companies or those people doing those jobs and see what they're going on. That's the kind of thing we need to be focused in on, because we have a giant opportunity to help solve a national problem. And I've talked about this many times, but I view this as a top priority that sort of transitions into one area of careers, but it can apply to many. And that's the skilled trades. If you look at it today, we have a huge national problem. We're actually starting to run into a labor shortage in Michigan, believe it or not, with people having the right skill sets. I know, I can see heads going up and down. It's in healthcare, it's in information technology, it's in many of the trades, welding, plumber, electrician. And if you look to employers, they want to grow and really thrive in places where they have the best group of people with the right skill sets. And in our country, we messed up quite a while ago. We recognized about 20, 30 years ago that we're going in a global economy, so we said we need to raise the bar for everyone. We need people to go off and get additional training. But where we messed up is our answer collectively as the American culture was to say everyone should go off to college. Everyone should go get a university degree. I am never going to discourage anyone from ever striving to obtain a university education, but that was a dumb answer too, much like not doing something on roads. Because what we did is we broke a system that worked where we had a dual career path, where we actually had careers in the skilled trades and career tech education. Back then we called it VOED. If you're in my age group, we called it vocational education. And the way it worked, usually about noon of the school day in high school, about half the class would go off to vocational education, and we'd all get back together and we'd do everything together, and nobody thought anything of it. But now we've sort of created this environment where that track doesn't work the way it used to. Where too often parents and kids discount that track. They feel compared to, look at a university track. In fact, I've seen skilled tradespeople get up and talk and say, they almost apologize for saying someone's on that path to becoming a journeyman plumber or an electrician. You should never, ever apologize. These are honorable careers, well-paying careers. We need to stand up for them. And we need to let people know what a great opportunity they are. So we need to reestablish that there's more than one way to have a successful career. And I was really pleased, coming back to Macomb, I did an energy message recently, and I did a Wright and Warren at the Electrical Industry Training Center. What a fabulous place. They're doing apprenticeships, they're doing great things to really encourage people to have a career as an electrician. And it showed how powerful this is. You go around, you go through an apprenticeship mile, you're getting paid, you're not incurring any debt to be prepared for a career. When you come out as an electrician, the pay range, $60,000 to $80,000 a year. What a great career. But also as part of that, in addition to making sure people know that track, we do need high standards in terms of what we ask of our kids and what we educate them to. Too often I hear people to say, you don't need that education. And I'll give you an easy illustration from that career center that I was so proud to visit. I went over and hung out with the apprentices. They gave me a break where someone wasn't trying to do a picture with me. So I went over and talked to the apprentices. And what were they doing? They were bending conduit. They were bending metal pipe. And the one student jumped right on this right away. He goes, Governor, before you bend the pipe, the important thing is you got to do the math about where you bend the pipe. And he goes, here's my card with the formulas, and here's the fractions that I'm going through to make the calculations. And I actually had fun. You know I'm a nerd, so we did some fraction stuff together. But it made the point that we shouldn't reduce our standards for education, but we can make them more applicable, more relevant to people's lives. A lot of us may not do Algebra 2 if it's X, Y, and Z, but if it's bending a piece of conduit or welding a piece of metal or doing a roof on a house, we need to know that math, and we shouldn't walk away from saying we want high standards and then local flexibility on curriculum on how best to teach it, particularly if we can make it applied so people can really say it means something to their life. Now, where does all this end up? As we reestablish this track for career tech education, for the skilled trades,